What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts as a professional player on the Way of Weight 12. What a performance beast. They retail for 180 euros. The dollar retail price is a little bit higher, but in any case you can save by using my discount code LucasTimur10 on the official Way of Weight website. Now with that out of the way, let's get straight into the performance features that make them such a beast. First up is the traction performance, a clear 10 out of 10 in my opinion, an incredibly hard stop. The technology that's used is full-length GCU according to Way of Weight's website, but if you take a look at the outsole, it actually looks like you have three different setups. Essentially, it's all the same technology. It's a polyurethane setup that works wonders. It's not new for Way of Weight. They've used it on the Way of Weight 11s, on the Austrian 12 Encores, that was the first shoe to use it, and on the 805 Ultra series. But here it kind of looks like we have three different sections. In the forefoot, like a traditional herringbone pattern. Then in the middle, this is what GCU normally looks like, or on other shoes that we've seen from Way of Weight. And then in the heel, we have that kind of herringbone pattern again. It works really, really well on an indoor court. Dust pickup is there, but it's definitely on the lower side. If you wipe from time to time, you're going to get an excellent bite on indoor courts. Now, are these durable enough for outdoors? From my past experience with GCU, I would say yes. Don't let the very shallow pattern fool you, but the rubber in the forefoot and the heel feels a little bit softer than on past models, so I'm not 100% sure, and I haven't tested them out outdoors because it's really freezing cold in Austria right now. So I haven't tried them outdoors. If you have, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below and maybe help some other people out that have the same question. The cushioning setup is where it gets very interesting, as this is the first basketball shoe from Way of Weight that implements Super Boom in a regular midsole and not in a drop-in midsole setup like the 805 Ultra did. Does it feel as good as on the 805 Ultras? Absolutely, it feels even better in my personal opinion. It's 2 layers of Super Boom and it's a perfect mix of everything. In my opinion, this also makes the shoe suitable for every position and every playstyle, just because it blends in all the things you want from a basketball shoe. And now specifically for cushioning, you want good impact protection, but you don't want to be too high off the ground. You want good court feel, you still want it to be responsive. You don't want it feeling like you're walking straight on the ground, but you still want that nice and unbalanced feeling. And this shoe really does all that. And in addition to that, you still get a lot of bounce out of it. It's not as crazy bouncy as on the 805 Ultras, but that was a little bit too much for me anyways. And what's also really nice is that we have a rounded midsole in the heel area, which just makes heel strikes way more comfortable and not as hard as on the Way of Weight 10, for example. The cushioning is fully caged on the lateral side of your shoe, so you might have noticed that here when I'm doing my cushioning test, you can't really see that much compression. On the medial side, it's more exposed, especially in the middle of your foot, and you can see some compression there, but it's not like with the KD18, for example, where the midsole really, you can do a midsole crush test and you see a lot of compression. Here you can definitely feel it, but you can't see it as well. So again, just like with the traction setup, don't let that fool you. The cushioning setup is freaking awesome and I absolutely love it. For the support features, it's also a really supportive shoe. I've talked about the heel area already, the rounded heel shape. You might have noticed that there's 2 carbon fiber-like plates there. I'll say carbon fiber-like because they feel softer than regular carbon fiber. They're a little bit more flimsy as well. I'm not doubting that it's real carbon fiber, it just needs to be some kind of different compound or setup in there because it's softer and it just moves a little bit more. But I think that's actually also the point of it. It adds some support laterally and on the medial side as well, but you're still flexible enough so it doesn't cut into your heel area or anything like that. Then some other amazing support features we have is a heel counter. It's actually very hard. I really like it. It keeps your heel locked in, didn't have any issues there. A carbon fiber plate in between those 2 layers of Super Boom, which we've seen on the Way of Weight 11s already, and that worked very well in the support sense there as well. And my favorite support thing actually about them next to the carbon fiber midfoot shank plate is that we've got an incredibly wide base and an outrigger on the lateral side of your foot, which just does so much in terms of adding stability and preventing ankle rolls, just because you've got such a wide base and then you have this extra outrigger in that area too. The insole itself doesn't really do that much for support. It's decent, but it can definitely be swapped out. It's not glued down, so it's a very easy swap out if you want to do it. Underneath, we've got a stroller board, which adds a lot of stepping comfort as there are a lot of cutouts there, but that's also something we've gotten used to from Way of Weight. One more thing that's interesting is that even though the shoe is extremely supportive, you still have a good amount of flex in the toe area, which is always nice, as we have some kind of semi-decoupled areas here or some flex grooves. The Way of Weight logo simultaneously acts as a flex area. So you can see that you can flex the toe area very nicely, but the midfoot is nice and stable, just how I like and love it and need it from my basketball shoes. Now for the last performance category, the materials. They're almost all synthetic, and the materials are probably my biggest point of critique of this shoe. Not because they're synthetic, but because there's some parts of genuine leather. And I'm vegan, and I not only implement that on my diet, but also on my lifestyle. About a year ago, I decided to stop reviewing shoes that use genuine leather material. The only reason why I made an exception, it's not really an exception because those are not restraints that are put on me, but that are just life choices that I make and that I stand by. And the only reason why I decided to get a pair of them is because I got so many questions from my community about their performance and telling me on my top 10 videos from last year already that the Way of Weight 12 is actually the best performer of the year. In retrospect, I definitely agree. These are absolutely freaking amazing, but I'm just going to put them in my 2026 lists. I'll definitely make sure to get out an early top 5 of 2025 so far video, and I can say that already, spoiler alert, these are 100% going to be the number one on the list. But now back to the materials. As I said, almost all synthetic. Just here the tongue area uses genuine pigskin leather, and why I actually don't want to use it is because I don't want to wear the skin of a dead animal or of a corpse on my shoes or on my feet. So that's my biggest point of critique. Hopefully in the future there's going to be colorways that are all synthetic. Then I would absolutely rock these to death, because this is probably the best basketball shoe Way of Weight has produced. I like them more than Way of Weight 11 for sure. And I think I also like them more than the Way of Weight 10 just because they are more comfortable. The last thing I want to say about the materials, and another point of critique, is that they have a very strong plasticky smell. So when you take them out of the box, it really fills up the whole room. And what I did is I aired them out on my balcony for a couple of days. As I said, it's really cold in Austria. That kind of helped as well. The smell went away relatively quickly the more I wore them, and the more I put them on my balcony. Now for the good things of the materials, they are extremely lightweight. They're very soft, they don't really need a break-in time, and they hug around your foot very nicely. It's kind of a sock-like fit. The padding is adequate, but it's just a very comfortable feeling on foot, even though there's not excessive padding. The tongue is a little bit weird because it doesn't really move that much. So if you wear insoles or have a higher arch on your insoles, that could be a little bit of an issue. But apart from that, I had no problems with the materials, just from a feeling standpoint. And now for the last two things I want to talk about, the fit and the weight. They are very lightweight, way lighter than Way of Weight 11. So I'm going to have a scale on screen for you to see. And overall, amazing to have a basketball shoe with so much technology at such a low weight point. And the fit is also much improved, even from the 10s, because those were crazy narrow like most Way of Weight shoes, and definitely from the 11s, because that had a very weird fit, kind of felt bulky, then they didn't. And the midfoot and toe area were just so different. Toe area was crazy wide, the midfoot was very narrow. And here we have a snug fit, but it's definitely on the side where my wide feet can fit in there with no problems. I would recommend going true to size, or if you have extremely wide feet, maybe going up half a size. That should definitely do. And now, where do they come in on my 0 to Book 1 scale? If you're not familiar with that, the Nike Book 1 is my favorite all-time basketball shoe, and these are up there with the Book 1s right next to them. An overall amazing performer, Way of Weight's best basketball shoe in my opinion, and definitely the best basketball shoe that's currently available on the market. As I said, if you want to get them, make sure to use my discount code LUCASSUMMER10 because the retail price is a little bit higher, but in my personal opinion, it's absolutely justified if you're going to get such a great performer. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the Way of Weight 12s. Also, just a comment for the algorithm would be much appreciated. And of course, the biggest gift that you can do for me is leave a subscription to my channel. Have a good one and see you next time.